Hey guys, it's Alex the Real Mr. Robinson again, and here it is. This is the one you've all been wanting me to react to. The final trailer in the whole lineup that Warner Brothers had at Comic-Con. The first trailer for 2019's Godzilla, King of the Monsters, which I really feel like they could have come up with a better title. It's not a bad title, it's just really now going to confuse a lot of people. Because whenever somebody mentions Godzilla, King of the Monsters, are people going to say, wait, do you mean the sequel to the American version or the American version of the original Japanese version? Just like when Gareth Edwards' Godzilla came out. You have 3 movies named Godzilla, or 4 if you live in Japan, since The Return of Godzilla is known as Godzilla over in Japan. But I'm looking forward to this. I know a lot of people weren't the biggest fan of the Gareth Edwards movie, but I like it. I think it was a unique way of telling a Godzilla story, because as somebody who's seen the entire franchise many times, it's always nice to get a new version of a Godzilla movie, and I feel like the American version, while it is a standard Godzilla movie in the end, did a pretty good job. So I'm interested to see what Legendary has to offer with the sequel. So here it is. Here's my trailer reaction to Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Oh wait, no, this is the trailer for the American version of the Japanese version. I'm sorry about that. See how confusing this is? Okay, here we go. I got the actual trailer for the actual sequel to the American version. Let's jump into it.
Our world is changing. The mass extinction we feared has already begun.
Right, there's 11. Millie Bobby Brown.
We are the cause. We are the infection.
What the hell? Okay, it looks like blue's gonna be a big color scheme with this movie.
The Earth unleashed a fever to fight this infection. Its original and rightful rulers, the Titans. For thousands of years, these creatures have remained in hiding around the world.
There's Godzilla. Whoa, wait.
And unless all the Titans are
Is that...
found,
okay, that was King Ghidorah.
the planet will perish, and so will we. They are the only guarantee that life will carry on.
Mothra? Wow. Well, there's Rodan.
I am sorry, but this is the only way.
You're a monster. I'm sorry.
Yep, that's Rodan. That's Ghidorah.
Long live the king.
Okay. All right. Some of you are probably shocked that I'm not, like, losing my mind over this movie. The trailer looks really good. I do have some concerns about the movie, though, but I'll lay out the good stuff. First of all, it's a beautiful looking movie. It's so interesting that this movie has a blue color scheme to it. Probably one of the best looking Godzilla movies out there, and I consider the Legendary series as official Godzilla movies. Even though they're not made by Toho and not made in Japan, I feel like they qualify as official Godzilla movies because they are Godzilla movies, more than the Roland Emmerich one ever was. So I am super curious about Godzilla's redesign because he's got the spines that look very different than they did in the past, because the spines in the original American version, boy, this is confusing, were smaller. They were very reminiscent of the Millennium Godzilla. Here, the spines seem to be a little more similar to the 1954 Godzilla that I happen to have placed right here. So I'm curious to see what actually leads to this redesign, because, I mean, throughout all the other Godzilla movies, even those within the same continuity, like the Showa era, the suit's always been redesigned. Godzilla's always looked different. And here, he doesn't look too different. It's just the spines are different. We got glimpses of Mothra. We got glimpses of Rodan and King Ghidorah. I'm super curious of what's going to happen with King Ghidorah, because for those of you that know, King Ghidorah was a space monster. He is to Godzilla what Venom is to Spider-Man, or what the Joker is to Batman. He is Godzilla's archenemy, and they find him in the ice. So I'm super curious to see if they're going to stick with him being a space monster, or just something different altogether. And, you know, they've changed King Ghidorah's origin many, many times before, like in Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, where he's a hybrid mutant from People of the Future, or in GMK, Giant Monsters All Out Attack, where he's a guardian of Japan. We didn't get that much of Mothra, to be honest. We got what looked like a larva, and then where she sprouted wings. So that's interesting. We had a lot of scenes of Rodan shown throughout, and he looks like Rodan. I do like how he's flapping his wings really slowly to emphasize how huge he is. And that's what this trailer does. We get to see the most of Godzilla because we've already seen him. With all the other monsters, even though us hardcore fans know these monsters by heart, I do like how they're teasing the first American versions of these monsters, and I'm just so curious to see how they'll be utilized. One thing that kind of threw me off, but not in a bad way, was the song they decided to use for the trailer, which is Clair de Lune, which I know from a scrapped Fantasia segment. Music is a very important part to the Godzilla series. I know there's still a lot of people out there that take the Godzilla series for granted, like a goofy monster movie, guys in a rubber suit, but music has always played an important part in the franchise. And from what I've heard, the composer that they got, which is the same composer for the Cloverfield movies, or at least 10 Cloverfield Lane and Cloverfield Paradox, he has said that he'll bring in a lot of classic scores from the past, like hopefully Godzilla's theme. All the monsters featured in this movie, Godzilla, Mothra, Rodan, and King Ghidorah, have all had iconic themes that fans know in and out. So I'm expecting the Godzilla theme to pop up, but it would be weird if these other monsters did not have their own themes from the past, because those themes just work. Now, there's some parts of this trailer that I'm not 100% sold on. For one, this is going to be the last movie before Godzilla vs. Kong comes out. This looks like it's going to be more in line with the tone of the original Godzilla, the American version. I'm getting myself so confused. But if you all saw Kong Skull Island, that movie was a little more goofy, is a little more lighthearted, and it kind of fit the tone with the monsters in the past, because the original 1933 King Kong was more lighthearted, more adventurous. Sure, it had some horror elements, but it wasn't a downer of a movie. The 1954 Godzilla was a downer. It was not a fun movie. I love it. I adore the 1954 movie, but it's not one that you really want to rewatch over and over and over and over again. So I'm really wondering how these two worlds are going to collide, because they are part of the same monsterverse, as it's called. So, I mean, we'll see, but one thing I really have to give this trailer props for is not hinting at anything relating to Kong. It looks like it's going to be completely standalone, which that's the way you handle these cinematic universe movies. Make them stand on their own, and then once you've built up enough confidence in the audience, then you can start going into the crossover. I actually do have one last major concern about this trailer, or at least this movie, and that would be the story. It seems like Vera Farmiga's character wants to release Mothra, Rodan, and King Ghidorah to pretty much cleanse the world because humans are, like, destroying it. So I'm just wondering how that actually works. I mean, I'm going to ignore the fact that she's releasing King Ghidorah, because I'm assuming this is not going to be the same King Ghidorah that we are familiar with from the Showa era, where he destroys planets and just travels through space. I do appreciate how it's not a remake of Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, which also features all 4 monsters that are going to be in this movie, but I'm still kinda hesitant about the story and just seeing what exactly is going on. But I've accepted a lot of goofy stuff in the Godzilla series up to this point, so I mean, as long as it can be entertaining and just deliver on all kinds of monster action, then I can be down with it. And if the characters do have some charisma, then that'll do it as well. Because even in a lot of Ishiro Honda's movies, while the characters are not really deep or have a lot of development, as long as they have charm and personality, then I can get on board with it. For this MonsterVerse, I'm just beyond excited to see what they're going to do with the future, what more monsters they're going to introduce. Are they going to come up with more original monsters? Are they going to work together with Toho to bring in some other classic monsters like Anguirus, Varan, Baragon? I'm listing a lot more down-to-earth monsters because I don't want to go too far out there with stuff like Gigan or Mechagodzilla. But, we'll see what happens. I also really do like how the human cast is completely different outside of Ken Watanabe and Sally Hawkins, because that's how all the past Godzilla movies have been beforehand. With Aaron Taylor Johnson, a lot of people gave him crap in that first movie, and I could definitely see why. I didn't think he was terrible, but he was definitely not very charismatic, so I'm hoping we get a lot more charismatic characters in this movie, and there was no reason for Aaron Taylor Johnson to come back for this one, so I mean, fingers crossed. This looks like it's going to be a really good movie. Well, I'm hoping for the best. I'm hoping it's good. And at the very, very least, this can't be worse than the anime Godzilla trilogy that's going on right now. I'm sorry. That trilogy is just not doing it for me. That trilogy is just so dull. It's such wasted potential. And I feel like this movie right here, King of the Monsters, is going to kick the crap out of the final film in the anime trilogy. Sorry to say that, but I just have a lot more faith in this than I do with the final anime film. And there you go. That's my reaction to the first trailer to 2019's Godzilla King of the Monsters. Now I want to hear what you guys have to say. Did you see the trailer? What did you think? Are you excited for this movie? Are you a little hesitant? So let me know what you thought of in the comments below. And until next time, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give this video a like, and of course leave a comment. Go ahead and support my Patreon page, follow me on social media, and until next time, this is the real Mr. Robinson telling you there's only one.